Research shows somewhere between 80 and 95% of all diets fail. But wait, it gets worse. The majority of people will gain back all the weight they lost, plus more, within the first year. And I realized that I was in that vicious cycle for decades. I am 100% certain that's how I ended up morbidly obese and feeling hopeless. Thankfully, I'm too stubborn to give up. I ended up losing over 70 pounds, and I've managed to keep it off for almost 5 years at this point. I decided I wanted to do whatever I could to make somebody else's journey just a little easier than mine was. So let's talk about the keto and low carb weight loss mistakes I made. This is the video I wish I would have stumbled on back in 2019. Hopefully it'll somehow help you to beat those odds. I need you to be aware that I am not giving medical advice. I'm not a doctor nor a healthcare professional, and you should always talk to yours first before you make any lifestyle change. I feel as though everyone is entitled to their own opinion. If you don't agree with me, that's perfectly fine. What's not okay is being mean and nasty in the comments. Just remember to be respectful of others if you've got anything to say. First thing I want to mention is that this list is in no particular order. Number 1 just so happens to be my first mistake. I started my keto weight loss journey in January of 2019. Right here is your typical cliche. I wanted to lose weight. January rolls around, and that's my New Year's resolution. And I thought I was well prepared because I'd started researching in December. As it turns out, I didn't even make it a full week in before I completely gave up and called it quits. I had zero plans of ever trying keto again. And then March rolled around and something changed my mind. On January 1st, when I started my New Year's resolution, I wasn't alone. My 18-year-old daughter had started too. And by March, she had lost a significant amount of weight. So apparently, she had figured out something I hadn't. My problem was I thought there was only one way to do keto. You had to choose clean keto or carnivore keto. And for me, those two options weren't realistic or sustainable. What my daughter had done was took the basics about keto and then made it fit her lifestyle. That's when I started over, sort of following her lead and playing around with things. So keep in mind, everyone is different. What works for me may not work for you. Thankfully, it's no longer 2019. So when you research, you're going to be able to find more than just one or two options. Clean keto, dirty keto, lazy keto, low carb, high protein keto, low fat, Mediterranean keto, vegetarian keto. The list goes on and on and on. If one doesn't work for you, try another one. Moving on to number 2. I do feel it is important to be prepared. Know what you're getting into. But there does come a point when you reach information overload. I read dozens of articles, made grocery lists. I had Post-it notes. I downloaded an app so that I could track my macros. I knew exactly what my macros needed to be and their percentages. All of that combined together started to cause me some anxiety. It was too much to keep up with. What I wish I would have done was kept it simple and only focused on what was important. What that would look like for me, having some of my favorite low-carb foods always on hand, and then only paying attention to my net carbs and sticking with a specific number or less. As it got easier, then I could incorporate more of what I'd learned. But trying to do it all at once is overwhelming. Figure out what's important to you and then focus on that. Number 3. For this one, I'm gonna need you to travel back in time with me. Think back to 2019. Do you remember what social media was like? It was not a pretty place. I remember how excited I was because there were content creators sharing their journey on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. What I ate in a day videos, meal plans, recipes. Let's face it, I was new and I was not trying to reinvent the wheel. So having examples in front of me was a huge bonus, I thought. But 2019 was a different time, not like it is today. I remember watching videos of these perfect people living these wonderful lives. Everything they posted or shared was a work of art. They made it look so easy, and that made me feel horrible about myself because I'm on the struggle bus hoping that I make it through the day without falling off plan. I'm still in my pajamas, and I remember thinking to myself, what's the point? Why do I even bother? I can't live up to these standards. I should just give up. The lesson I learned? Be careful who you follow. Only subscribe to accounts that are going to motivate and inspire you. I finally decided that I had to stop torturing myself with these impossible standards I was seeing on social media because it wasn't real life. And when I couldn't find anybody who was living a lifestyle like mine, imperfect, I decided to document my journey and share it in hopes that I would reach someone struggling like I was and they would know it's okay and they're not alone. So stop comparing yourself to people whose lives don't look like yours. Search out those accounts that you can relate to. It's well past that point where we start acknowledging that people have flaws. Number 4, and I'm ashamed to even admit this one. In the beginning, and for several months after I started, I didn't know what keto really meant. I listened to everybody else. So when someone said, that's not keto, I believed them. When I got tired of hearing all that from the keto police and did my own deep dive, I was shocked. Keto is not a food. I want to keep it as simple as possible. Keto refers to ketosis. Ketosis is a metabolic state. And the goal of being on a ketogenic lifestyle is to get into ketosis. Normally, our bodies run off of carbs and sugar. That's our fuel source. But you want to flip that switch and become fat adapted and burn fat as your fuel source. The easiest way to do that is to limit your carb count. Keep your carbs low enough, your body goes into a state of ketosis, and you start burning fat. Light bulb moment, that's all it is. Don't make it harder than it needs to be. This brings me to number 5. When you start doing a ketogenic lifestyle, you hear people eating sticks of butter and pounds of bacon and consuming tons of fat. And early on, if you notice you're hungry a lot, keeping the fat high in your diet is going to keep you satiated. But if you're doing keto for weight loss purposes and you are still consuming copious amounts of fat, wouldn't it be much simpler focusing on a low carb count? That way, the fat that's being burned is what's deposited on your body. You can do low fat keto. You're going to lose weight a lot faster. Number 6, and this one goes back to the statistic I mentioned at the very first of this video. Research suggests that anywhere from 80 to 95% of diets fail. Let's just say this took me 40 years to figure out. When you start keto, you have to go at it with a new approach. Think of it as a lifestyle change and not a diet. Every other diet that I tried in the past, I was part of that statistic. I would lose weight, then I would go off of the diet and gain every single pound back. When you go back to the standard American diet, odds are it's going to creep right back on. Keto, as a lifestyle, once you've lost the weight, you can transition into low carb. I know it sounds hard in the beginning. I've been able to do it for almost 5 years. Believe me, anybody can. Number 7, this is for all of you that are brand new to this lifestyle and you're just starting this keto journey. Do not, I repeat, do not go out and buy everything that's labeled keto or every product people suggest. Here's what no one told me. When you first start keto, your body sort of goes through this detox process, eliminating sugar and carbs from your system. And for the first several weeks, I felt like nothing tasted good. I even went through this phase where I was not hungry and nauseous. Yeah, you're going to need some items to get you through, but keep it simple and only get the basics. At around the 3-month mark, this glorious change happens where your taste buds evolve. Things that you didn't like, now you love. Foods that used to be your favorites no longer taste as good. I suggest giving it several months before you start stocking that keto pantry. Give your taste buds and your appetite time to change. That way you don't waste any money. I know you've heard the saying, There's an exception to every rule. Number 8 is your exception to rule number 7. I know, I said don't go out and stock up on all those keto products. While that may be true, I do feel like you're going to need just a few things, and you will thank me later for these. You need a good collagen, and you need yourself a good electrolyte. I know you've heard of the keto flu. Well, it's not a pleasant experience. Truthfully, it feels a lot like the flu. Aches, pains, fatigue, headache, nausea. When you're doing a keto or low carb lifestyle, you flush out a lot of the electrolytes that your body typically holds on to if you're doing any other type of diet. You need to replenish those. If not, you could go through the keto flu, and if you've already went through that or you somehow skip it, you could still have problems like aches, pains, fatigue, soreness, cramps. Take your electrolytes. Don't wait till you start feeling any of those symptoms. If you're just starting out, begin those electrolytes as soon as you start a keto lifestyle. Then throughout this journey, when you feel like you need them, you'll know. You'll have them on hand. I do have some favorites, and what I'll do is link those down in the description box for you, and I'm pretty sure the majority of the ones that I'll put down there have a discount code. That way you'll be able to save money if you order. The other product that is a must-have is collagen. You probably know this from past experience. Anytime your body goes through this shock process, whether you lose a lot of weight, you have a surgery, any major stressor, there comes this point in time, usually about the 3-month mark, when your hair starts coming out in handfuls. That's exactly what happened to me. And I asked my doctor, what can I do? The bad news is, unfortunately, you can't stop it from happening. But the good news is, if you start taking collagen at the very beginning of your journey, odds are it won't be as noticeable. My doctor said that collagen was good for hair, skin, nails, and joints. It doesn't stop hair loss, but it promotes new hair growth. So you'll already have new hairs coming in as the old ones let loose. And that was the time when my doctor physically handed me a canister of perfect keto collagen, and he said this was the one that he suggested. I've tried a lot of those over the past 5 years, and believe me, it's the best. Tastes good, numerous flavors to choose from, dissolves well, it's not chalky, so if you have texture issues like I do, then you won't have to worry about any grittiness. After I finished that first container that I purchased from my doctor's office, that's when I contacted Perfect Keto myself and asked for a discount code. It'll also be down there in the description box, waiting on you to take advantage of it if you are interested. Number 9, and this one may be the most important one of all. Remember, nobody's perfect. We're only human. Your life is going to have ups and downs, just like your weight loss journey. So if you fall off plan, if you have a cheat day, don't be hard on yourself, don't beat yourself up, and don't think of yourself as a failure. Anytime you start something new, it isn't easy. Realize there's going to be times in your life when you want the piece of cake, and that's okay, because it doesn't have to be all or nothing. Life is meant to be enjoyed. So if you have one of those moments where you fall off plan and you eat an entire pizza, just remember, it's important to get back on plan. Don't let it turn into a week-long, month-long, or year-long binge fest, and then you end up the statistic. Make it a sustainable lifestyle, not a diet. I felt like I had a longer list than that. I could probably turn this into a series that I upload weekly. Lessons I've learned, mistakes I've made along the way. So if you're interested in a part 2, let me know. Plus, if you can think of any that I left out, mistakes, things that you wish you would have done differently, put them in the comments for everybody else to go check out. That way, they don't repeat the vicious cycle. I've kept you guys here long enough, but thanks for hanging out with me today. I hope you're doing well. Remember to be kind to yourself, and in case nobody's told you today, you've got this. I love you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.